Hey, what's up, Math 8? This is once again Mr. Bainey, and we're going to take a look at Lesson 7.3, solving equations that involve the distributive property. So this requires that you know how to solve equations that have variables on both sides, which also includes knowing how to do two-step, one-step equations. So let's take a look at example number 1 and write down some steps for you to follow. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to distribute, which means to multiply the number that's outside the parentheses with everything that's inside. And of course, I'm still going to do the fence, and we'll do the box in the circle once we get to the point where we can actually do it. And so we want to distribute first. That looks like this. I'm going to take the 3 that's outside the parentheses and multiply with what's inside. So as you can see, I'm not multiplying it with the 1 over here. That means 3 times x is 3x. 3 times the minus 5 that's there is minus 15. I still have plus 1, and I still have the 2 plus x on the other side. Okay, step number 2 is we're going to combine like terms. And this involves combining things that have x's together and combining things that don't have x's together. Remember, we call those constants. So if I just look on the left side only, look, I have a 3x, a minus 15, and a plus 1. I have 3 things. So which of those could I combine together? So this one has an x. None of these have an x here. So that means the 3x, I'm just going to keep it as 3x. Now the minus 15 and the plus 1, those both don't have x's. I can actually combine both of those together. So think of the minus 15 as like a negative 15, and negative 15 plus 1 is minus 14 or negative 14. And I still have the 2 plus x. Now the 2 plus x I didn't do anything with because the 2 doesn't have an x and this one is x, so I can't combine those. So combining like terms in our second step is just only if you can. Sometimes you can't. Okay, our third step is the rest is actually review. So get variable to one side, and that involves adding or subtracting, right, to make a 0. And after that, we're going to make a 0 with the constant. In fact, I actually think my previous notes, I just said add or subtract. And you're going to add or subtract the constant. That is with the variable. And then the last step is, again, if you need to, multiply or divide. That's to make a 1 with the variable. Okay, so our next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to box the 3x and our x. And actually, it should be the positive x that's right here. Remember that this is a 1x. So I have a 3x on the left and a 1x on the right. I want to subtract 1x since it's a positive 1x. And I'm going to subtract 1x over here. Okay, this is a 0. So that's gone. I have 2x minus 14 is 2. So here I have my variable, 2x, and I have minus 14. So let's add 14, right? I'm on step 4 now. Add 14, and I get 2x equals 16. And the last step is divide by 2, because x is multiplying by 2. So our solution is x equals 8. And there we have it. Now let's look at example number 2. Let's draw our fence. Step number 1, let's distribute. So I need to take this -4. This is a tricky part right here. -4 times both of those inside is going to be -4 times k is -4k. And then, again, this is the part I mentioned was tricky. This is -4, and this is like saying +1, because there's a plus there. -4 times +1 would be a -4, like so. And then the -3 is still there after that. I still have the 5 minus 7k right there. I don't do anything with that. Let's combine like terms. I have this one doesn't have a k. That one has k. I can't combine those. On the right side, that one has a k, but that's the only one that has a k. But look, I can combine that and that. -4 and -3 make -7. Okay. 5 minus 7k, still the same. Next step. I have a -7k, -4k. This one is smaller, the -7k because it's negative. So I'm going to add 7k to both sides. That's a 0. I have just the 5. The -4k plus 7k gives me 3k minus 7. Okay, this is just a two-step equation now. There's my variable. There's my constant circled. I want to add or subtract, so I'm going to add 7 since it's a -7. So let's add 7 over here. That's 12. 5 plus 7 is 12. I have 3k there. Then let's divide by 3. And k is 4. So in both of these problems, I followed pretty much the same exact steps that we have, the 5 steps that are up top. And you can see this is really taking us 5 steps, pretty much. If I could highlight, what did I do? I distributed first. So this part right here I'm highlighting in yellow. Then I combined like terms. That's this right here. And then I added 7k to both sides. Then I added 7 to both sides. Then I divided 3 on both sides. Okay, just quickly, since I didn't get to do it, up top on example 1, I distributed, combined like terms. That's the -15 and the +1. I subtracted 1x, added 14, divided it by 2. Okay, so I'm doing these very, very procedurally. There's not a whole lot of surprises here. Example 3. The Smiths spend 8% of their budget on entertainment. Their total budget this year is $2,000 more than last year, and this year they plan to spend $3,480 on entertainment. What was the total budget last year? Well, if the question is, what was the total budget last year? Well, let's make that our variable. So x is going to be the number, represent the number that was their budget. So x is total budget last year. So if I go back and read through it again, as I actually already have, I've read through this a few times just to make sure I understand it. Suggest you do the same thing when you're going through these. Their total budget this year is 2,000 more than last year. Think about what that means. Just in math, 2,000 more than, that means plus 2,000. And more than last year's budget is X. So it's X plus 2,000. So that's this year's budget. Okay, this year is X plus 2,000. And this year, they plan to spend $3,480 on entertainment. And that's 8% of their budget. So 8% of their budget, right? So this year's budget is X plus 2,000, right? 8% of that, well, 8% means I'm going to take 0.8. Okay, 8% changed to a decimal is 0.08. You have to move the decimal point over twice. And when you take 8% of the budget for this year, we get $3,480. And you want to go through and solve this. Okay, so let's go through and solve it by first distributing. So step number 1, let's multiply. 0.08 times x is 0.08x, but then 0.08 times 2,000, you can just put that into your calculator, is 160. And I forgot to draw my fence, so let's do that now. My equal sign, I still have $3,480. Now we have a decimal in here, and if you remember in the last lesson, we got rid of our decimals. I'm going to choose not to do it this time, just because you can see how this is done without having to, just leave decimals there. I'm just going to keep going. So here, I'm going to combine like terms if I can. Now, this has an x. This does not have an x. There's nothing there, just a constant. So we can't combine those. And here I just have one thing, so I can't combine it with anything on that side. So next step. Variable is on one side. Here's my variable. I don't have a variable over here. So the step after, well, I got my variable there. I have my constant there. Let's subtract 160 since it's showing plus 160. Subtract 160. Okay, I just have 0.08x on that side. And then I have, let's see, 3,320. And in the last step, all I gotta do is divide by 0.08. This is gonna be a big number, so get those calculators out. If I divide 3,320 by 0.08, we get 41,500, and this, remember, represents our budget last year. That's how much money that family made last year, so they could use 8% on entertainment. So we're gonna finish off this lesson with your turn so that you can practice. If you could please pause it, and in a few minutes I will show you how to do this problem, and you can compare it with what you did. Here we go. Here's our fence. First step, let's distribute. 2 times x, 2 times 6. There's a minus in between. 2x minus 12 plus 3 equals 4 plus x. I can combine like terms. Both of those are like terms. So I have 2x is still the same. Negative 12 and positive 3 make negative 9. that equals 4 plus x still. I have a 2x and I have a 1x. So I'm going to subtract 1x on both sides. And as I'm simplifying this part, just know that if you didn't do it exactly the way that I did it, doesn't matter. There's a lot of ways to do this. Here's my 1x and my minus 9 right next to it. So let's add 9. So 1x, by the way, is the same as x. So I don't have to do much more here. I'm actually done. X is 13. And there you go. Okay, hopefully this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Go and practice the assignment that's on the back. Just a few problems for you. And here's the assignment. Okay, the first 4 problems, just like our examples in the your turn. Number 5, just like the third example there. And number 6 is a challenge one for you. Okay, give it a shot, do the best you can, and you come with questions if you have any next time I see you. Okay, thanks. Have a great day.